Welcome, everyone, to the very first meeting of the Social Dance Dynamics 1000 Readers Book Club. My name is Musa, and I'm so grateful you're here. I'm with Social Dance Mastery, and this is a online movement coaching resource for many Afro-diasporic dances. And I'm so grateful that you're checking out this book club, whether you're a dancer, a creative, or just someone who's curious about energy, embodiment, movement, and connection. Then this book is for you. Because this book, Social Dance Dynamics, this has been a passion project of mine, something that I knew I was supposed to share with the world. It's been years in the making, and it's not just a dance book. This is a guide to understanding yourself through the universal language of movement. So, over the next few weeks, within this book club, we're going to move through this book chapter by chapter, not just reading it, but embodying the principles, reflecting on the concepts, and discussing how many of the tools and resources in this book can be applied to your real life and to partner dancing. Now, before we do that, I want to give a little bit of information about who I am and how this journey started. So my name is Musa Starseed. I'm the founder of Social Dance Mastery. I'm a movement coach, an author, a cultural educator, and I specialize in the Afro-diasporic social dance forms. That means I study and teach the deep layers of connection, rhythm, and energy that live inside many of the dances that have been spread around the world because of the transatlantic slave trade, such as salsa, mambo, samba, cha-cha-cha, bachata, merengue, cumbia. Many of these dances all share a similar root, a similar story. My first book, Walking with Water, was all about my client journeys as I guided many people through their movement journey, which we'll talk about, their transformation through movement. But Social Dance Dynamics, this book, my newest book, this takes that understanding and brings it to the whole new level. It really exposes the dynamic movement model, which is the structure that I use as a movement coach to facilitate the transformation of people through movement. It's the framework that I use to help dancers unlock musicality, body mechanics, energetic connection, and embodiment. So, what's in this book? Or what's this book about, right? So, what this book really is about, social dancing is a very interesting phenomenon, right? It's one of the few spaces where people can share energy strictly through movement without saying a single word. You don't even have to speak the same language. And when you think about that, that silent conversation, when you realize it's not just dancing, it's actually a form of communication, of emotional expression, of energy exchange. A lot of people think that when I go out dancing, I'm just having fun, but there's a deeper level to it. And that's what this book is all about. This book is not just about steps. It's about embodiment, awareness, and connection. And these is the substance behind the steps. This is what turns moves into movement. And it's really about understanding how energy moves between you and your partner and how culture, rhythm, emotion, energy shape all of that exchange. So when people say it's just dancing, I always smile because those of us who study the dynamics of movement know it's actually a language. So let's go into chapter 1, which is the moment everything changed. This chapter begins with a story, one of my personal stories through my movement journey. I call it the catalyst moment because I feel like everybody in their life journey goes through at least one catalyst moment. It's a moment where everything changes and you're a different person from that point on. And my catalyst moment was during my first trip to Cuba. That completely changed how I understood salsa and partner dancing. You see, I've been trained in salsa in the standardized version of salsa. This is the salsa that really emphasizes, when you go to a salsa dance class for the first time, they always show you the step and they always count 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This is a clean, technical studio format and curriculum of how salsa is taught, and it's very died down because a lot of the nuances are very hard for people to catch. For example, syncopated rhythms. It's very hard for a lot of people to catch because people are so used to listening to non-syncopated music and pop music. So when I arrived in Santiago de Cuba, this was back in 2010, my first trip to Cuba, everything flipped for me because the music hit differently. The body language of how they dance in Cuba wasn't linear like I was taught. It was circular. It was grounded. It was ancestral. And it wasn't choreography. It was conversation. So I realized the salsa that I'd been taught was a polished reflection, not the root. And that really inspired me to go deeper. That moment cracked something open inside of me. I understood that if I wanted to teach these dances, if I really wanted to take that path, I would have to study more than just these steps. I would have to study the culture as a whole. I would have to study the energy. I would have to study the movement and the different genres and flavors and styles of all these kinds of dances. That awakening became the seed that would grow into the dynamic movement model, a framework that bridges technique with essence. So I really encourage people to learn this way, to take the immersive route when it comes to learning about these dances. And this is what I offer. I actually offer a dance retreat that we're having in 2026 coming up. So if you're interested in going through this transformation yourself, going to Cuba, the root of salsa, and really experiencing what it's like, that catalyst moment that I had is something very powerful that put me on a trajectory, and I provide this opportunity for other people. So just so you can see, in the first chapter of this book, I talk about a very specific instance that happened that really changed everything when I went social dancing out in Santiago de Cuba. But before we get there, I'm going to show a video of our current Cuba trip, just so you can get a sense of how we travel over there. And if you are interested, you can sign up for this trip. The signups are open for the Roots of Salsa trip that's happening in 2026. So I'll show this and then we'll come back. Okay, so this was some clips of our last trip, our last Roots of Salsa trip to Cuba. So it really gives a sense of a lot of the texture of Cuba inside the streets, traveling, and everything like that. Really gives a sense of how we immerse ourselves within the cultural experience to really enrich what we're learned when it comes to dancing and everything like that. And this place is where my catalyst story began. My catalyst story began when I encountered dancing to timba, because timba is a very interesting, more modern style of Cuban salsa that is danced that has a lot more Afro moves in it. The movement is a lot more circular. They do a lot of rueda de casino, which is the circular partner dancing with multiple partners at a time. And when I came to this, the standardized version that I was taught just didn't communicate with that type of dancing. There was no compatibility. And I was trying to dance in the standard way until I realized that this was another form. This was another genre. This was another flavor of salsa. And I started to embody that flavor, figure out what those movements were. Then I was able to communicate much better. Inside of these are from chapter one. Some of the quotes that really captured my attention was what I realized in Cuba was that the salsa I learned was the standardized version. And this is very important because a lot of people, when they get into salsa, most of the time they get that standardized version. And if you stay with that version, that only allows you to dance with a certain amount of people who know that version. But what if you want to dance Colombian salsa? What if you want to dance Cuban salsa? What if you want to dance salsa romantica? What if you want to dance rumba, cha-cha-cha, or mambo, New York style? There's so many different flavors. And when you go to the root, then you're able to embody all of the flavors of salsa's movement naturally. Another quote was, if I wanted to teach true connection, I had to understand energy, movement, and culture as one. And these lines are a reminder that mastery isn't about learning more steps, it's about returning to the source and becoming a more whole dancer. It's about humility, listening, reconnecting with the roots of the dance itself. So, out of this realization, out of the catalyst moment that I had in Cuba, came out what I now call the dynamic movement model. And this is the bread and butter of this book. It's a complete framework for understanding dance as energy in motion. It connects 5 key pillars: musicality, cultural context, body mechanics, partner dynamics, and teaching methodology. It actually does much more than this, too. But the model maps all of these qualities across 4 elemental archetypes: fire, water, air, and earth, showing how they interact in both solo, within yourself, and partner dynamics. So when you understand this model, you begin to see the patterns yourself, not just in your dancing, but in how you relate, how you communicate, and how you move through life. This is what makes social dance dynamics more than just dance theory. This is a system for personal transformation through movement. So if this is something you're interested in, you're definitely in the right place. Inside this book, let's look inside the book itself. The book is divided into 3 main parts, which we're going to cover in this book club. Part 1 is the dynamic movement model. This is where I teach the framework and the foundational principles, right? Part 2 are all the stories of client transformations. This is where you'll meet the dancers and the clients who've applied this model to awaken new dimensions of confidence, who transformed themselves and their artistry and developed more self-awareness and became more whole of a dancer. And in part 3, we have all the embodied exercises and reflection prompts. So you can take everything you're learning and integrate it into your own movement journey. So each part builds on the last: theory, embodiment, and application. All of this serves to guide you deeper into your own movement transformation, right? So The movement transformation happens along the movement journey, and this is a concept that I really encourage in this book. This leads us into the most important concepts in the book, the movement journey. The movement journey is our path towards self awareness through dance. Through this journey, we'll identify our movement strengths and the places where energy is blocked. We'll reconnect to the emotional, energetic, and spiritual side of our movement through dance. And we'll learn to move with purpose, intention, awareness, and embodiment. Every dancer, whether beginner or advanced, doesn't matter what skill level, every dancer is on their movement journey. This is the process of returning to embodiment, returning to wholeness, finding the rhythm again, and expressing who we are through motion. So that's the journey we're beginning together through stories, the theory, and the embodiment of social dance dynamics. My hope is that as you go through this book club, you'll start to see dance not only as a movement, but as a mirror, a way to understand your emotions, your polarity, and your empowerment. If you haven't yet, you can grab a copy of the book or get a signed copy directly from me, which also gives you full access to the book club experience and makes you a lifetime member of Social Dance Mastery. So, this is an amazing offer that I'm offering my first 1,000 readers. In our next episode, we're going to dive deeper into chapter 2, which is the dynamic movement model, and I'll guide you through how to use it in your dancing and in your life. Until then, keep dancing, keep moving. Remember, movement is the medicine.